Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our virtual Mishnah Berurah share. We are holding in Mishnah Berurah Chelik Hey. We are picking up today on Pei Zayin Amud Aleph. We're continuing to learn Hilchas Pesach. We are beginning today with Siman Taf Ayin Vav. So we're beginning a new Siman today, Taf Ayin Vav, near the bottom of the Shulchan Aruch on Pei Zayin Amud Aleph. Minig Achilas Sli B'Leil Pesach, the custom regarding the eating of roasted meat on the night of Pesach, by the Seder night, Uboy Beis Seifim, and we have here two Seifim. Says the Mechaber, Mokim Shenagu Lechol Tzli B'Leilei Psachim, in a locale where they have the custom to allow the eating of roasted meat on the night of Pesach, Eichlim, you're allowed to do it. This is not the Shulchan Aruch's own psak. This comes from a brisa in Masechtas Psachim, that there were places where they had the minig not to eat roasted meat on the night of Pesach, and there are places that they had the custom to allow it. So the Shulchan says, "Makom shenagu lechol tzli b'leil psachim oichlem." In the locale where they had the minig to eat roasted meat on the night of Pesach, you can eat it. Makom shenagu shaloi lechol. In a locale where they had the minig not to allow the eating of roasted meat on the night of Pesach, ein oichlem. Then you're not allowed to eat it. What's the reason not to eat it? Gzeira shema yomru b'sar pesachu. It's a gzeira. We want to be careful. We know that the Korban Pesach was eaten sli. The Korban Pesach, when we had a Beis Hamikdash, was eaten roasted. And we're afraid if somebody sees you eating roasted meat on the Pesach night, they're going to say, what? This guy thinks he's eating the Korban Pesach. You're not allowed to eat the Korban Pesach b'chutz. Now, you can't even bring a Korban Pesach now. Ubechol Makayim, the Shulchan Aruch continues and he says, in all locales, regardless of the minig, there is one prohibition against eating roasted meat that applies everywhere, regardless of custom. And that is, you cannot take a seh, you can't take a sheep, a lamb, and roast it kuloi ke'echad, all as one piece, the entire animal. That's the way the Korban Pesach was roasted. Kirbay al kara'av, the entire animal with its feet and with its innards all folded up and put on a spit and roasted. You cannot eat a sheep roasted in that manner on the night of Pesach, because should you do that, that would really look like you're eating kachim bachutz, because you're eating the animal mamish prepared the way the Korban Pesach was prepared, and you're eating it bachutz, that you're not allowed to do. Let's break here for a moment and see the Mishnah Berurah. Says the Mishnah Berurah on Pei Zayin Amud Aleph is cut in Aleph. Shaloi lechel ube'elu aratzos, in our countries ein noyegin lechel tzli b'shnei haleilos. We have the custom that we do not eat roasted meat on both of the first nights of Pesach. Va'afilu tzli kedar, even a roasting that's done in a pot. Pirush, what does that mean? Shenitzla b'kedera, that you roast the meat in a pot. You put let's say a Dutch oven. You take the meat, you put it into a pot, beloy mayim, without any water, v'shum mashke, or no other liquid. So you're just taking the meat, you're putting it into a pot without any liquid, and you're putting it into an oven. Ela mispashel b'moyel hayoytze mimenu, so that it roasts and cooks in its own juices. That's called tzli kedar. That's not the manner in which the Korban Pesach was roasted. If you would roast the Korban Pesach in a pot in that manner, it would be puzzle. The way you have to roast the Korban Pesach is on a spit over an open fire, not inside a pot. Still in all, we aser tzli kedar on Pesach night. If we roast something without any liquid in a pot inside the oven, you're not allowed to eat that. In our countries where we have the minig not to eat roasted meat, because once they would be matir to eat that style of roasted meat, they might come to be matir all roasted meat. Even if you would take the meat first and cook it in water, and then prepare it in this manner of tzli kedar by roasting it in a pot, we would prohibit that as well. But if you're doing this for an ill individual who for some reason it's easier for him to eat the roasted meat, then we could be lenient. Let's say you roasted meat, and then after roasting the meat, you take it and you put it into liquid and you cook it in liquid, mutter lakayl, that would be permissible. Ice cut and bays, the Shulchan Aruch said that you're not allowed to eat, regardless of what locale you might be in, you're not allowed to eat a set solui kuloi ke'echad. You're not allowed to take a whole sheep, a whole lamb, and roast that you can't eat even in a locale where they do allow for eating of roasted meat. Says the Mishnah Berurah, Ice cut and bays, Bain sek savim, whether we're talking about a sheep, oise izim, or a lamb of goats, doesn't matter. Those are both called a seh. They're both usable as the carbon pesach, and therefore you cannot eat it roasted. Ice cut and gimel kulai ke'echad. If it was roasted as one whole piece, tainu roshai al kra'av, its head together with its feet, its legs, va'al kirbay, and its innards, kamay pesach, and then the style and the manner that the carbon pesach was roasted. Continues the Shulchan Aruch on the top line of Pei Zayin Amud Beis. V'im haya mechutach. Let's say the animal was already butchered; it was cut up. Oy shechasar mimenu aver, or one limb was cut off. Oy shalak by aver, or if you boiled, you cooked one limb, v'hu mechuber, and it's still attached to the rest. In all of those cases, hareza mutter b'makom shenagu, it would be permissible to eat the animal if it was roasted in that manner, in a place where they allow for roasted meat. Of course, if it's a locale where you're not allowed to eat any roasted meat, you're not allowed to eat this anyway. Now, what does this mean? The Shulchan Aruch gave us here three different cases. Mechutach, if the animal is butchered up, ay shechaser mimenu aver, or it's missing one limb, ay shalak by aver, or you cooked one limb, and it's attached. Says the Mishnah Berurah, is cut and daled. What the Shulchan Aruch wants to say here is, if you roasted the entire animal, so you went to the butcher and you brought the butcher a sheep, and you said, look, I want you to butcher up the sheep, but I want you to give me back the whole sheep, right? Don't leave out anything. Butcher it up, cut it up, maybe into its primal cuts. So give me a chuck, give me 2 chucks and 2 ribs and 2 briskets, but give me the whole animal butchered up, and now I'm going to take the whole butchered up animal, and I might even assemble it nice and neatly, put all the pieces next to each other like a jigsaw puzzle, and now I'm going to roast it in that manner. That's okay, because it's chopped up and the carbon pesach wasn't prepared that way. So if you're in a locale where they're matir the eating of roasted meat, you could eat it this way. As opposed to, like we just said, if you would do the whole animal in one piece, not butchered, that's usser, even in a locale where they allow for the eating of roasted meat. So that's the case of mechutach. Or maybe you have the whole animal and it's not butchered up. You didn't butcher up the animal. You cut off one limb. You cut off one leg of the animal you cut off. Before you roasted it, so you had the whole animal, you cut off one leg, and then you put the leg next to it, and you went ahead and you roasted it that way. That would also be mutter, because you're not allowed to do that by the carbon pesach. Or you cooked one limb. So what you did was, somehow you took the animal, and you took one leg, and you stuck one leg in a pot. So now that one leg is cooked. Now you take out the animal, you take the leg with the rest of the animal away from the pot, and now you roast it. That would be okay. That's not, you're not allowed to do the carbon pesach that way. It's not similar to the roasting of the carbon pesach. So in the locale where you're allowed to eat roasted meat, you would be allowed to eat this. Says the Ramah. Here we have an interesting Ramah, Hagah. And I think that this Ramah is very often negeya. This very often is negeya to people by the Seder. This is something we have to be careful of. Hagah, says the Ramah. At the Seder, you should be careful not to eat, not to overeat, and not to overindulge in drink. So that the eating of the afikomen should not be an achila gasa. Or if you drink too much, yishtaker, you might become tipsy, v'yishan miyad, and you'll fall asleep right away. What's the problem with that? Let's see the Mishnah Berurah. Says the Mishnah Berurah, nice cut and vav. Achila gasa. We don't want the eating of the afikomen to be an achila gasa. Achila gasa means an eating that you're doing after you're stuffed. You don't want to eat anymore. You ate too much, right? Guy says, oh, I ate too much. I can't eat another thing. Oh, but you have to eat the afikomen. All right, I have to eat the afikomen. I'll eat the afikomen. But you don't want to eat, and you're overstuffed, and you don't want to eat another bite. That's a problem. Says the Mishnah Berurah. If the person has absolutely no desire to eat, he ate 2 kazaisim of matzah. He ate a kazais of maror. He ate kairach. Then he sat down and he ate a suda, and it's the Seder night. So they had fish, and they had soup, and they had roast, and they had dessert. And the guy is filled to the gills. And now he's got to go ahead and he's got to eat afikomen. He doesn't want to look at another morsel of matzah. Shaz eno isa mitzvah min hamuvchar. It's certainly not a mitzvah min hamuvchar. Is that a way to be mekayim a mitzvah? That you don't even want to look at the matzah of the afikomen? And now you're going to take it and force yourself to eat it because you got to do the mitzvah? Is that a way to do a mitzvah? Certainly not a mitzvah min hamuvchar. Even though we're going to see soon that, at least according to one shita, the afikomen is a zecher, it's a remembrance for the Korban Pesach. And the halach of the Korban Pesach is that you're supposed to eat the Korban Pesach al hasoiva when you're already somewhat satiated. Where you're already at least somewhat satiated. And that's why we eat the afikomen all the way at the end of the Seder, because you're supposed to eat it al hasoiva. So maybe you'll tell me, what's the problem of eating the afikomen b'achila gasa? The afikomen comes as a zecher to the Korban Pesach, and the Korban Pesach is supposed to be eaten al hasoiva. So what's the problem? I'm eating it al hasoiva. Says the Mishnah Berurah, no. While it's supposed to be eaten al hasoiva, you're supposed to have some desire to eat. If you have no desire to eat left anymore, by the time you get to the afikomen, that is not a mitzvah min hamuvchar. The mitzvah min hamuvchar is you're supposed to have an appetite for the afikomen. You're supposed to say, okay, I'm full. I'm not starved. I'm not eating it al haravin. I'm not eating it out of hunger. But yeah, I'll eat. You give me something delicious to eat. Oh, you're giving me a mitzvah to eat? You're giving me an afikomen that's a dvar mitzvah? Yeah, certainly I'll eat it. That's a mitzvah min hamuvchar. But if you have no appetite at all, that's not a mitzvah min hamuvchar. And certainly, if you're already stuffed and the thought of eating is repugnant to you, right? It's repulsive. I don't want to see food. Oh, I don't want to see food anymore. I've actually heard people say, matzah, I can't look at another piece of matzah. In such a case, even if you press yourself to eat, you are not yoitza the mitzvah of eating the afikomen if you eat it in that way. Because an achila gasa to this extent, that is not called an achila. That does not constitute achila. So you see, you have to be careful of this. Let's remember, when we sit down by the Seder, let's make sure that we keep our priorities straight. The Seder is a night of mitzvahs. Yes, we're supposed to have a nice meal. We're supposed to have Shulchan Aruch. But let's keep our priorities straight, and let's remember, we have to be able to eat the afikomen at the end of the Suda. We have to be able to eat it with an appetite. We have to be able to eat it with an appreciation. It's a beautiful mitzvah. We're sitting b'haseba, and we're eating the afikomen, and we're being yotza mitzvah, and we're eating as a zecher to the Korban Pesach, and as a zecher to the matzah that was eaten together with the Korban Pesach. We have to do it with an appetite. Let's not get carried away with delicacies that we made for the Seder, and eating this and eating that, and eating this and eating that, and eating too much. We can't do that. Kasva Paiskim. The Paiskim write, Al achilas afikomen alav l'torach. You have to make sure that the eating of the afikomen is not in any way a bother to you. If that's the situation, even if it's not to the extent where you're not yotze the mitzvah, it's certainly not a mitzvah min hamuvchar. You're certainly not being yotze the mitzvah in the proper way. Eis Katan Zayin, the Ramah said you also have to be careful not to overindulge in drink. And what did the Ramah say? Why? Because you might become tipsy, v'yishan miyad, and you'll fall asleep right away. What's the problem of falling asleep? When is he afraid you're going to fall asleep? Says the Mishnah Berurah, V'tanya b'toisefta chayiv adam lasik bilchas pesach kol halayla. You see, the Ramah is not afraid over here that you're going to fall asleep after the afikomen, before benching, before the third kais, before Hallel, before the fourth kais, before Nirtza. The Chafetz Chaim is telling you that's not what the Ramah is afraid of. The Ramah is afraid that you're going to fall asleep after the Seder immediately. He doesn't want you to fall asleep immediately after finishing the Seder. It's brought down, Chayav Adam Lasik Hilchas Pesach Kalalayla. You're supposed to be studying Hilchas Pesach, or at least being Mesaper B'Yitzias Mitzrayim, like we say over from the Tanoim Shoyu Mesubim Ibnei Brak, that they spoke about Sipur Yitzias Mitzrayim all night. So we don't want you to overindulge in drink where you're going to become sleepy, and right at the end of the Seder, you're already conking out. Now, our starim tend to go very late, and very often we are very tired at the end of the Seder. So what exactly is this chiyuv of being Isaac in Hilchas Pesach Kol Halayla? So let's take a look in the Dirshu in footnote number 5. A very nice footnote over here. Chayiv Adam Lasik B'Hilchas Pesach Kol Halayla. The chiyuv zeh mavur b'Shulchan Aruch l'kaman. We're going to see this chiyuv later on, brought down in the Shulchan Aruch in Siman Taf Pei Aleph Siv Beis. Shehu ad shetichtefenu shina. The lashon over there is until sleep is grabbing you, until you're falling asleep. Ubegeder shir zman zeh. Exactly what's the geder of this time? What does this mean? Ad shetichtefenu shina. Does it mean that you're falling on your nose and you're plotzing? Das hagoyner nissen karelitz. She'ena kavana shechayav lasik b'sipur yitzias Mitzrayim ad sheyirdei mamish. It doesn't mean that after the Seder, you literally have to stay up discussing Sipur Yitzias Mitzrayim until you literally fall on your nose and fall asleep. Sha'az nechshavu ka'onis sheniftar mechayves hasipur. At that point, you're already potter from the mitzvah of Sipur Yitzias Mitzrayim because it's mamish and oinus. You're falling asleep. Says Rav Nissen Karelitz, that's not what that means. It doesn't mean that you're chayav to stay up discussing Sipur Yitzias Mitzrayim until you're mamish and onus and you're mamish falling asleep. Elo shehu hazman sheboy rashoy lolechas lishon. Says Rav Nissen Karelitz, it means that it is a normal time to go to sleep. Shekesh hashina tardasai ba'ofen sharoishay kaved elav. Once you're already sleepy, rashoy lolechas lishon. That's already a time that you should go to sleep. In other words, people generally don't keep themselves up until they're mamish collapsing. So what it means that you're chayiv to be mesaper b'yitzias Mitzrayim ad shetechtefenu shina, it means, all right, it's already, I'm so sleepy, I'm starting to fall asleep, it's time to go to sleep. V'chein das ha'goyin Rabbi Yashiv zatzal she'ena kavana ad sheyirdei mamish al shulchan. It doesn't mean that you're falling asleep by the table. He says, Rabbi Yashiv, that can't be. How can it be that you're supposed to say Sipur Yitzias Mitzrayim, discuss Sipur Yitzias Mitzrayim until you're falling asleep on the table? Well, how about Krish Malamita? How about a Mapil? So it can't be. It means it's already late and you're already getting sleepy. So at that point already you could stop. Now, if we skip the next paragraph in this footnote and you go to the last 3 lines of the footnote here, it says, this is also very important. People have to keep in mind. V'im margish, if somebody senses, she'em yisakev milishain, that if he will stay up and not go to sleep, kedei l'saper b'sipur Yitzias Mitzrayim, in order to continue discussing Yitzias Mitzrayim, yafriya lo yadavar l'macharas, it will hurt him the next day, b'tvila shachris, when he's trying to daven shachris. So a guy knows, he finished his seder at 2 o'clock in the morning. Now he says, I have to stay up discussing Sipur Yitzias Mitzrayim. He says to himself, if I stay up anymore, there's no way I'm getting up on time tomorrow morning. Or even if I get up on time tomorrow morning, I'm going to go to shul and I'm zicha going to sleep my way through Kriyas HaTorah. I hope I'm not going to sleep through Psukei de Zimra. I hope I'm not going to sleep through Kriyas Shema, but I'm zicha going to sleep through Kriyas HaTorah. Das again, Rabbi Yashiv Zatzal, Shavadai Tzarech Laleches Lishon Miyad. He's got to go to sleep. Go to sleep and have a davening tomorrow morning. Okay, let's go weiter. Find a place over here. Okay, so V'yishad Miyad. Okay, we did the Mishnah Berurah, Ice Cut and Zayin. Now we go back up to the Shulchan Aruch. We go back up to Sif Beis. And my Mishnah Berurah, it's the 3rd line down. Says the Shulchan Aruch, Afilu Besar Egel Va'oif. Even the meat of a calf, so beef or veal, va'oif, or some kind of poultry, chicken, turkey, Kol davar sheton shchita, any type of meat, anything that comes from an animal that requires shchita, also lechel tzli, you're not allowed to eat that meat roasted, b'makom shenagu shaloi lechel tzli, in a locale where the minig is not to eat roasted meat on the night of Pesach. So in our locales where our minig is not to eat tzli by the Seder night, you're not allowed to have roast chicken. You're not allowed to have roast turkey. You're not allowed to have roasted veal. It's not only from a sheep. It's not only lamb that's a problem. It's the meat of any animal that requires shchita. Says the Mishnah Berurah cut and ches. Afilu b'sar egel va'oif. Ritzayna loymar. What the Shulchan Aruch wants to say here is, even though the carbon Pesach is not brought for using this kind of meat, it's only from a lamb, for a sheep. Still in all, you're not allowed to eat these other types of meat roasted. Because people will very easily mix up roasted lamb and roasted beef. So you're not allowed to eat roasted lamb because that's what the carbon Pesach came from. You're also not allowed to eat roasted beef because you'll mix it up. Ice cut and test, the Shulchan Aruch said, any meat shetan shchita, the flesh of any animal that requires shchita. La'afuke, this stands in contrast to dogim, fish. There's no shchita by fish. Ubeitzim, or roasted eggs. Mutalachlam tzluyim b'chamakim. These things you're allowed to eat roasted no matter where you are. No matter what the custom is in your locale. You can have roasted fish, you can have roasted eggs. Because there's no similarity to meat. And people will not make that mistake. Even the roasted beitza that we have on the ka'ara as a zeichet to the carbon chagiga, mutar al yedei tzli ula'achla, you're allowed to eat it roasted. Ice cut and yod b'makom shenagu shaloi. This halacha pertains to a locale where they're noyeg like us not to eat roasted meat. Alva b'makom shenagu lechel tzli, in a locale where the minig is to eat roasted meat, mutar. Let's say you would take a calf and you would roast the calf in the style that the carbon Pesach was roasted. So we said earlier that even in a makom where the minig is to eat roasted meat, you cannot take a sheep and roast it as one piece in the style of the carbon Pesach. That you're not allowed to eat anywhere. But an egel, a calf, if you would roast it in that manner, you are allowed to eat it in a place where you're allowed to eat sleep. Pesach bami menu. Now we go weiter to the Ramah. Says the Ramah, Hagah. There is a custom in some places, lechol besuda, to eat by the seder, beitzim, eggs, zecher la'avelus, as a remembrance of mourning. And I know I have that minig, my family had that minig, to eat eggs, to eat whole eggs by the seder. Says the Ramah, v'nirli atam, he says it seems to him, what is this Avelus that we're commemorating? We know that the Seder is a time of Cherus. What Avelus are we commemorating in the eating of eggs? Mishum Shalel Tisha B'Av Nikva B'Leil Pesach. Because which night Tisha B'Av will fall out on can be recognized from the first night of Pesach. The first night of Pesach and the night of Tisha B'Av fall out on the same night. If it's Monday night, it's Monday night. If it's Wednesday night, it's Wednesday night. So since there's a connection over here to Tisha B'Av, we eat that egg. And we'll go into this more in the Mishnah Berurah. Also, we're mourning over the Churban, Shayu Makrivin, Carbon Pesach, because we're having a whole Seder over here commemorating the Nisim of Pesach and commemorating the eating of the Carbon Pesach. And we don't have a Beis HaMikdash, so we can't eat the Carbon Pesach. Like we say in Musaf on Yom Tov, we're celebrating Yom Tov. But we have to say that because of our chatoim, galinu me'artzenu, we were sent in galus and exiled from our land. V'nisrachaknu me'alad masenu. Ve'in anachnu yichaylim lalois v'leirois v'lishtachis lefanecha v'lasois chayvayseinu b'veis b'chirasecha. We can't fulfill our obligations. We can't do all these things. So we're talking about the Carbon Pesach and we're commemorating the Carbon Pesach. How could we not mourn over the Beis HaMikdash? So we eat the egg, at least to have some zecher of the Avelus over the Churban. V'yesh noyagin, and says the Ramah, some have the minig, shaloi lechel shum tibul balayla, that we do not dip any food the night of the Seder, rak shnei tibulim she'osim b'Seder, with the exception of the 2 dippings that we do, the karpas and the marar. Other than that, we don't do any other tibulim. We don't do any other dippings. Says the Mishnah Berurah, nice cut in Yod Aleph. V'nira li hatam. The Ramah said that there's this minhag to eat eggs, and the Ramah said that the reason is it's a zecher for Avelus. And he said that it's the Avelus because of the connection to Tisha B'Av. Says the Mishnah Berurah, V'agra kasav oitam. The Gra gives us another reason for this Avelus, or for the eating of the eggs. Mevnei she'abeitzu hu zecher lechagiga. We know that the reason we have the roasted egg on the ka'ara is as a zecher to the carbon chagiga. The chamavur le'el b'sivin taf ayin gimel siv dalet. V'alkein tzarich la'achal agam kein. So we have to eat it. It's a zecher to the carbon chagiga that we would eat on Pesach. So we have to eat the beitza. You'll say, well, you want to eat the beitza that's a zecher to the carbon chagiga. How about the zroya that's a zecher to the carbon Pesach? Oh, we can't eat the zroya. Because it's roasted and it's meat or it's poultry, and that we can't eat because of the Yisr of Tzli. So the way we make a zecher to the carbon Pesach is with the eating of the afikomen. Now, how is the eating of matzah a zecher to the eating of the carbon Pesach? We'll get to that. Ad kan dvarav. So that's what the Gra says. Now, according to the Gra, according to the Gra that we eat the beitza because it's a zecher to the carbon chagiga, nira, it seems, the ahad alecha gam b'leil rishon oisa beitza she'al ha'ka'ara. We should make sure to eat it on both nights, because on both nights it's a zecher. Well, if he's in there, do you have like a gum? Rishon. Yeah, it's always a zecher to the chagiga, so we have to eat it. Yeah. So you'll ask me, what is this minhag to eat eggs by the meal, by the Seder, if the whole reason we're eating the egg is because the egg on the ka'ara is a zecher to the chagiga? So eat that egg. Why do you have to eat other eggs? So he says, the minhag grew a long white beard. It became, and it could be what happened was they were arguing over the table who gets to eat the one egg on the ka'ara. So they said, you know what, we'll make more eggs. You want to eat eggs, we'll bring more eggs. Maybe that's how it happened. But that's what he says. Nishtar beivaminich. I've cut yud bei shalel Tisha B'av nikpa perish kamosh shachol yom rishon shel Pesach. The same day of the week that the first day of Pesach is Yil Oila B'Yisa Yom Tisha B'av. That's the day that Tisha B'av will fall out on. The chamavur leil b'simin tavchav ches ayin sham. I've cut yud gimel. We have to mourn over the korban because of the carbon Pesach. Show you makrivin u'misabelin al zeh. So we're talking about the carbon Pesach. We have to mourn on the fact that we can't bring it. According to this, so the minhag of eating eggs applies to the second night also. According to the reason that it's because Tisha B'av falls out on that day, that only applies by the first Seder. It doesn't apply by the second Seder. But if the reason is because of the Gra's reason of the carbon chagiga, so then it applies both nights. Or if it's because of Avelus on the Beis HaMikdash, it also, applies both nights. When we come up on Tzarech Leda, still in all, we have to know, Shalachala Ta'amim, whatever the reason for the eating of the eggs is, Shalachala Ta'amim, Abeitzim Sha'ichlem B'Sech HaSuda, Hurak Zecher Ba'alma. Whatever it is, this minhag of eating the eggs are only a zecher, they're only a remembrance to something. Udaloi Kehahamoin, Shecheshrim Zela Mitzvah. There are some people who mix it up and they think that one of the mitzvahs of the night by the Seder is to eat eggs. That's not true. And they go stuff themselves on eggs, so it's another dish that they're eating by the Seder. And then they're going to come to the problem we discussed earlier of eating the afikomen with an achilagasa, which is not an achila. So a person has to be cognizant. He has to, again, priorities. Don't eat the egg if you're not going to be able to eat the afikomen with an appetite. I've cut in your dalit. Some people have the minhag to only eat 2 types of dipping, the karpas and the mar and the charesis. Rak shnei tibulin, and no more. So no French fries and ketchup. Umasha tovlin, French fries. Okay, that's potatoes. We're good. Ketchup, you got to watch out. Make sure it's not kidneys. You got to have kosher lepesach ketchup. Umasha tovlin gama mar shalakricha b'charesis. The Chavetz Chaim says you might wonder, what do you mean the 2 dippings that we do by the Seder? We really do 3 dippings. We do karpas in mei melach, we do maror in charoises, and we also do the kairech in charoises. Ein zeh tibul shlishi. The Chavetz Chaim says that's not a 3rd dipping, that's maror in charoises. The hurak mishum safik bavad. We do it because Hillel had the matzah and the maror together. So if that's the way he was yaitza the mitzvah of maror, we have to dip it in charoises. But again, that's maror in charoises. That's not a 3rd dipping. Okay, we're going to try to push a little bit weiter. We're getting very close to being on the Dirshu schedule, so I don't want to give up the opportunity to go a little bit weiter. Siman Tav Ayin Zayin. Dine Achila Afikomen, the laws that govern the eating of the Afikomen, Ubay Beis Seifim, and we have over here 2 Seifim. Says the Mechaber, La'achar Gemar Kol Hasuda, after the completion of the Suda, Oichlim Mimatzah Hashmura Tachas Hamapa, we now eat from the matzah that we put away by yachatz. By yachatz, we broke the matzah. We took the bigger piece of the broken matzah and we put it away. And we said that the minhag was to put it tachas hamapa, to put it under something, to hide it inside a cloth. So we now take this matzah that we put away for the afikomen. Kezayis kol echad, everybody eats a kezayis of this afikomen. Zecher lepesach hanechal al hasoiva. And the Shulchan Aruch says that this is a zecher, this is a remembrance for the carbon Pesach. So a lot of people wonder, or some people don't even think about it. What is this afikomen that we're eating at the end of the Seder? Why are we eating afikomen? We already ate a kazayis of matzah earlier. What is this now? Says the Shulchan Aruch, this is a zecher to the carbon Pesach. And why does it come at the end of the Seder? Because the carbon Pesach, like we said, was nechal al hasoiva. It had to be eaten after you were already somewhat satiated. So now we eat the afikomen as a zecher to the Pesach, and we eat it at the end of the Suda when we're already somewhat satiated. I would direct you immediately to the Dirshu footnote number 2, where he says over here, and I alluded to this earlier, how is it that the matzah is a zecher to the carbon Pesach? A matzah, the last time I checked, is not meat. So how does that serve as a zecher to the carbon Pesach? Berurah Goyin Rav Shlomo Zalman Auerbach Zatzal shekeven sha'amatzah hi hamaychel hayochid bizman hazeh sheyesh mitzvah da'araisa b'achilosa. Rav Shlomo Zalman said that the matzah is the one food bizman hazeh that we have a specific mitzvah saseh da'araisa to eat this specific food. You have a mitzvah saseh da'araisa to eat matzah on Pesach. That's a very special Michael. So therefore, I got to skip over here to the back pages to 36. Mishtamshim bagam kezecher carbon Pesach. That's why we use the matzah as a zecher to the carbon Pesach. What else are we going to use? What are we going to tell you to use? We're going to tell you to eat a stam, a piece of meat, as a zecher to the carbon Pesach. The eating of the carbon Pesach was a mitzvah say daraisa. So we want you to eat something. It's more important to us that the thing that you eat as a zecher to the carbon Pesach should be something that is a mitzvah to eat, then it should bear a physical similarity to the carbon Pesach. You're right. If I told you to eat a piece of lamb, so physically it would be similar to the carbon Pesach, but it's not a mitzvah. I'm telling you to eat matzah because matzah tonight is a mitzvah say daraisa. So ruchniistic, it has a similarity to the carbon Pesach. So that's why we use that. Ubeprat ladasa soivrim, and certainly according to those opinions who hold shebachol kizayis matzah shoichla b'layla zeh mekayim mitzvah. We mentioned earlier that there are some shittas that hold that every kizayis of matzah that you eat by the seder is the kiyum of a mitzvah say midaraisa. So when you're eating the kizayis of the afikomen, it's mamish a mitzvah say daraisa. That's similar to the eating of the carbon Pesach. So that's what the Shulchan Aruch says here. Why do we eat the afikomen? Because it's a zecher to the carbon Pesach. Let's see the Mishnah Berurah, ice cotton aleph, kazayis. You have to eat a kazayis of the afikomen. Or lechatchila toiv sheyikash shnei zaysim. The Chavetz Chaim says, really lechatchila, you should eat 2 kazaysim by the afikomen. Why? Because we have a machlokes rishonim. We have a machlokes the Rosh and the Rashbam. Echad zeichel Pesach. We should eat 1 kazayis, like the sheet of the Rosh. We should eat that kazayis as a zeichet to the carbon Pesach. And then we should be yotze the sheet of the Rashbam, who holds that the matzah of the Afikomen is a zecher to the matzah that we ate together with the Karban Pesach. So we eat two kesesim. One is a zecher to the Karban Pesach, one is a zecher to the matzah. I believe Reb David writes in his Haggadah that for those two kesesim, you could use the smallest share of the kesesim, which equals the biggest share of the kesesim. So it's the same amount of matzah that you're going to eat that you ate to fulfill the mitzvah of achilas matzah. You ate big kesesim. You go over here, you're going to eat small kesesim. So even if it's two kesesim, it doesn't mean it's necessarily more matzah. Okay, Zak the Mishnah Berurah weiter is cut and base, kol echad. Everybody has to eat a kezayis for the Afikomen. Vaf noshim chayavos pazeh. Women are also obligated to eat the Afikomen. Ois cut and gimel al hasoiva. We eat the Afikomen at the end of the seder because the Karban Pesach was eaten al hasoiva when you're already satiated. V'ayin la'el b'simen tafayin vav sif aleph b'haga. Look earlier. We learned this earlier in today's share. The concept, the problem of eating the Afikomen by achila gasa, you should make sure it's not an achila gasa. Says the Shulchan Aruch weiter on the bottom line, Pei Zayin Amud Beis. V'yochlenu b'haseba. You have to eat the Afikomen b'haseba. You have to eat it reclining on your left side. V'lo yivarech alav. And you do not make a bracha on the eating of the Afikomen. Says the Mishnah Berurah is cut and dalet. You have to eat it while reclining. If you ate it without aseba, you don't have to eat the Afikomen over again. If that eating is going to be difficult for you. Now, why is it that you should eat it with haseba? If this goes back to the machlokes, the Rosh and the Rashbam. According to the Rosh, that the eating of the Afikomen is a zeicha for the Karban Pesach. Doesn't say anywhere that the meat of the Karban Pesach had to be eaten by aseba. So if it's a zeichet to the Karban Pesach and you ate it without aseba, it's okay. According to the Rashbam, it's a zeichet to the matzah. The matzah was eaten by aseba, so then you would have to eat it over again. But that's the sheet of the Rashbam. It's not the sheet of the Rosh. The Shulchan Aruch goes be'ikr like the Rosh, that it was a zeichet to the Karban Pesach. You do not make a bracha on the eating of the Afikomen. Shurak lezecher. Because it's not a specific mitzvah. It's only a remembrance. It's only a zecher. The canal. Kosav Shla. The Shla writes, Re'isi mibnei aliyah, I have seen from elevated people. Shahayu menashkin hamatzah isfahamara. They would kiss the matzah. They would kiss the maror. V'chein asukah b'knisasa yubiditsiyasa. They would kiss the sukkah when they went in and out of the sukkah. V'chein arba minim shebalulav. They would kiss the lulav and the esrog. It's the belovedness of the mitzvah. Fortunate is the one who serves Hashem b'simcha. So it always troubles me when some people talk about matzah, and I don't like matzah. I hate matzah. The matzah is a dvar mitzvah. It's a dvar mitzvah. How can you even say that? You know, people are so used to by rote. They take out the tefillin, they kiss the tefillin. Not even sure if they realize what that kiss is. They kiss the sitter, or they put away the sitter. It's a kiss of love. That's what it is. It's a dvar mitzvah that should be beloved to you. The matzah, the maror, has to be beloved to you. They're mitzvahs. All right, I was hoping to go a little bit weiter, but I see the clock is already running late. So we're going to stop over here by the Ois Kat and Vav for the Mishnah Berurah. Thank you so much for joining me for Liman HaTorah. The schus of Liman HaTorah should stand Gans Klal Yisrael in good stead. The Rebbeinu Shalom should send Yeshuas and Refuahs to all those who are in need of it. The Rebbeinu Shalom should send Parnasa to everybody in need of Parnasa. And the Rebbeinu Shalom should send the Bias Goel Tzedek, the Meher of Yameinu. We should be Zoichet to be Oil Regel for Shavuos. Be well.